Greater Lagos. Ìgbéga ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó àjùmọ̀ṣe ni.
The growth of a state is often associated with the level of economic and social development in that state. This growth comes with expectations such as increased job opportunities, infrastructural development, high income generation, and better work pay. Lagos State has set out to be Africa's model city, and to achieve this, Lagos State Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget was created from the former Plans, Programs and Budget Bureau, PPBB, by the Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration in June 1999. This move was informed by the administration's policy thrust to put planning and popular participation at the center stage of governance and development of Lagos State. My name is Isaac-Yerokun Egube, and I welcome you to another episode of Greater Lagos. The Lagos State Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget is responsible for the mobilization, planning, and utilization of resources for the socio-economic development of Lagos State. The ministry has recorded outstanding progress, especially under the administration of the current governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. We can see the various interventions in all sectors of the economy, such as the health, education, commerce, among others. Our guest on today's episode of Greater Lagos is the Honorable Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Mr. Samuel Egube. Don't go anywhere.
Greater Lagos. Greater Lagos.
Honorable Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Lagos State, Mr. Sam Egube. It's nice to have you on the program, Greater Lagos.
Lucy, I'm very excited to be part of this program.
The Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget has the responsibility to mobilize, plan, allocate and utilize resources for socio-economic development of Lagos State. This must be a very challenging task considering that Lagos is developing daily. So how do you ensure that resources are appropriately allocated to projects that drives Lagos to the dream of the 21st century economy?
So the first thing about Lagos, which is the starting point, is that Lagos has a vision. And that vision really is to be Africa's model mega city, a global economic and financial hub that is safe, secure, functional, and productive. Now, that sets the tone as to how we rally the people of Lagos and how we guide the strategy and the execution capacity of our people to deliver to that vision. That vision is not a vision of the Lagos State government, it's a vision of Lagos State, which includes the people. So in arriving at that vision, there's a lot of consultation that goes on with the people in their respective sector. Once there's a meeting of mind, then it becomes a lot easier. In the budgetary process, which is the way we allot resources to various sectors of the economy, it begins really with a review and an appraisal of the macroeconomic trends, the direction in the economy, where the gaps are and where the investments need to be made. And it's in that regard that we then begin to go into conversations with the people of Lagos in their various divisions, in the Bile divisions, to say, look, what are you looking at? And what kind of interventions are you seeking? Now, from an economic planning standpoint, we also know the levers to draw that puts us in pole position to deliver outcomes that are around productivity. Because when there is improvement in productive capacity, then you then begin to see that those social interventions are possible and people are able to come out of poverty and come out of some of those challenges. So Mr. Governor came out with the themes agenda in consultation with the people of Lagos. That agenda is aligned, right, with the SDG goals and are also aligned with the Lagos State Development Plan. And that is the point. So we then go through this process of iteration and sizing to ensure that Lagos is within our sustainability matrices. We are not borrowing excessively because we have guidelines, internal guidelines that align with global standards, and we are deploying our execution capacities properly. So you see a lot of investments in infrastructure. You see a lot that our infrastructure commitments have grown significantly. It's grown this year, for example, by 86% to 619 billion, right, compared to last year, and it's contributing about 35% of the current year's investment in terms of resource allocation. And the reason is that with infrastructure, enterprise can grow. With infrastructure, productivity can increase. I give an example. So much has been said about the rail lines, but when those 2 rail lines are delivered, it's going to cut down journey times from Agbado to Igbo or from Okokomaiko to Marina from 2 hours 30 minutes to about 30 minutes. That will improve the productivity of our people. So these are the things we do to just ensure that we are stimulating the economy in the right places, in line with Mr. Governor's vision, right, in the team's agenda.
You talked about budgetary process. Now, this year's budget has been christened Budget of Consolidation, and one of the biggest in terms of size and texture. What is so special about this year's budget?
So this is an election year.
Okay.
And in an election year, you want to do a few things. One of the things you want to do, you want to bring to closure a lot of the projects you have opened up, right? And then you want to ensure that those projects land in a seamless manner. So that's why we call it the budget of consolidation. You need to close some of the projects, you need to bring it to closure. So it's special. Also, election periods tend to be very full of activities just beyond the administration of the state, because you are contesting, you are politicking, and doing all of those other things. So it's important that you focus very intensely on the goals and make sure you close it out. That's what's special about this budget. And in this budget, we then brought, we're driving very hard to bring the trains, the blue line and the red line, to closure. We're driving very hard to decentralize our responsibility, our emergency responsibility, right? So a lot of that is happening, and it is that sense that we must begin to get things closed out that makes us call it a budget of consolidation. As long as the projects remain open, the true value of those investments do not come to the citizen.
Is it possible to achieve all this before the end of this administration, and also considering the fact that it is an election year?
So yes, it is possible, but governance is a continuum. Projects never end. There will never be a time where all projects have been closed. But there are certain projects you need to trigger off. It is their time to be closed, right? Their time to be completed. So we drive it in a manner that, in the methodology, for example, we grade the projects and prioritize them. We cost them and prioritize them. That prioritization, as a matter of rule, must begin with existing projects.
In your budget and planning process, how do you steer the state's economy towards poverty alleviation and sustainable economy?
Okay, so my job really starts from strategy, and then it goes to connecting the way we allocate resources to align with those strategies. And then we return back for monitoring and evaluation. Economic growth is the major thing you require to drive away poverty, right? To alleviate poverty. Once there is economic activities and it is growing, then you begin to see that a lot of people come out of poverty. So you see all I said earlier. I said the way our budget is skewed, you see us invest very deliberately in infrastructure, right? So that the cost of just doing business goes down, and therefore you can see growth. You see us intervening significantly in human development indices. So under human development, you see our intervention in health. A sick population cannot be productive. So you see us sponsor Isaac-Yerokun, where we have an insurance system, insurance scheme, health insurance scheme that is inexpensive. So people are able to, with as little as 8,400 a year, which is around 700 naira a month, are able to get health coverage. And then we are increasing access by building new hospitals, mother and child hospitals, general hospitals, and refurbishing the existing ones. And then we are creating partnership with the private sector to ensure that the equipping of those hospitals are done and remain active and in good condition. But not only that, that population must be well educated, because a man without skill cannot be productive. So you see what we are doing, interventions in our schools. We've done over 1,400 interventions in our schools. We are leveraging technology to improve the productive output and the learning outcomes of our children. You realize that there was significant improvement just leveraging technology, and the best teachers we have. The performance in 2020, which was about 39% pass rate in Lagos, moved to about 80% in 2021, right? And we have kept it at that level going forward. Now, so that education aspect, creating and educating our people, equipping them with the skills they require for industry, right? Not just teaching them stuff that the industry does not require, right? Helps that entire system. So if you have a productive people, then you see that poverty begins to submit to the superior firepower of skills, of talent, of strong infrastructure, livability indices, and a growing economy.
Okay, so in all of this, what are the measures in place to avoid wastage? That's one. And is there any policy that ensures that money is not spent by any ministry is returned to government purse?
So it is the policy, and it is backed up by law, that if you do not expend any money by the end of December 31, right, of that year, you should return the money. Now, it must happen because it's not just us watching out for it. Finance is watching out for it. The House of Assembly is watching out for it. The Central Internal Audit is also watching out for it. And there are strong queries where compliance is not achieved. Beyond that, we have the Monitoring and Evaluation Department that goes into the project to evaluate how much progress work is done, and certificates for work done are certified. So the direct department, the owner department, first does that, and the Ministry of Economic Planning as a checker also does that evaluation to ensure that there is consistency between the way the department, the user department sees it, and the way the general population of the citizens sees it, which is what economic planning does.
So what are the plans to attract more investments in Lagos and also improve the ease of doing business?
So investments do not jump into nothing. Investment comes because you are creating platforms for it to land on. And then they can trust you because they see your rating, they believe you are a disciplined government, and the people are enterprising. The spirit of Lagos also is the spirit of enterprise. We continue to do things. So when we created, when the government of Bola Ahmed Asiwaju created and worked out the free trade zone, it attracted investment of the Dangote refinery, the Dangote fertilizer, right? It has attracted the deep sea port. We are speaking again about the African Media Center, right, in Lagos. This is a 120 hectares of land which we've committed to the entertainment industry, to studios and all that. Nothing like that in Africa. Do you know what will happen? It will attract investments into it as well. We are doing the Fourth Mainland Bridge, right? And over 30 companies expressed interest to invest in that, right? It is attracting investors. So if you do not have ideas, if you do not have movement, right? We talk about the economic summit, and what does Ehibeti really mean? But it means that as long as trade continues, as long as people keep on going and ideas keep on going, Lagos will continue to prosper. So it's that exchange of ideas, that movement of goods and services, the fact that we collaborate, we co-create, both the public sector and the private sector work very fantastically well together in Lagos, that then attracts the investment.
Greater Lagos.
We have been speaking with the Honorable Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Mr. Samuel Egube. But before we continue, we will take a break to bring you Mega Citizens. Echo Daily comes right after. Keep watching.
Greater Lagos.
People in Lagos are bigger than Lagos, and to enable good operational system, to enable conveniency of the people in the society, I feel things like the fourth mainland bridge is very important, because I think it enables people on the mainland to cross ahead to the Ikorodu axis of Lagos, because I realize that every day people are coming, and the only road that leads to the island, you have to pass through the Ikeja, Yanowo road, down to the Third Mainland Bridge, which is not making it to be convenient for them. So, but of course, if they have what we call the Fourth Mainland Bridge, it makes transportation to be effective. In fact, we would have less, in my own opinion, I feel that we would have less what we call now traffic, because everybody complains about traffic every day. And of course, the railway too, the red and blue line railway that they are constructing, of course, it helps it's going to help transportation to be effective. In fact, my major concern is about transportation, because one of the major things that makes Lagos to be clumsy is the issue of transportation. You see somebody going out in the morning, coming back because of transportation. But when the transportation is effective and there's flow transportation, I mean, transit are moving, no door, people can get to, you can actually predict when you are leaving home and when you get home, get to your office at a specific time, compared to the way it is right now.
Did you know the word Igbeti means vibrancy, connection, exchange, and wealth? These words best encapsulate the core of what Lagos is and where it always needs to be. Little wonder the State Economic Summit is nicknamed Igbeti Summit. The Igbeti Lagos Economic Summit has held almost every year since its launch in year 2000. The summit was created to serve as a platform for citizens, public and private sector regulators, funders, and the international partners to meet and strategically discuss ideas to elevate the socio-economic and sustainable development of Lagos State. It was such summit that gave birth to a lot of the forward-thinking projects that Lagos State government has embarked on, some of which are the Rail Line Project, the Lekki Seaport Project, the Immortal Rice Mill Project, the Leather Hub Project, and the State Security Trust Fund Project, and so many others. This year's summit had no fewer than 25 keynote speakers who are experts in their different sectors, ranging from the financial sector, energy sector, professional services, conglomerates, manufacturing, entertainment, public sector, development partners, and more. They shared insights and perspectives on pathways to the future of Lagos, highlighting readily available solutions with emphasis on homegrown solutions. During this year's summit, the Lagos State government also unveiled its 30-year development plan for Lagos, with a projected estimated population of about 40 million by 2050. The governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, in his leadership foresight, has started putting plans in place to make sure the state is ready to cater for such increase in its population. The development plan will run from 2022 through 2052. The plan aims to establish Lagos as Africa's model megacity through various inclusive and equitable policies. The 2022 summit also led to the unveiling of the Lagos State Wealth Fund (LSWF) bill that, when passed, will create sustainable wealth for the government and people of Lagos State. And also, Lagos State approved qualification to embark on the Lekki Ekpe International Airport. See what happens when great minds come together? They make the ordinary extraordinary. That's it on Eco Daily. See you next week.
Greater Lagos.
So you talked about the population of Lagos. Lagos has a population of about more than 25 million people and still counting. Do you think this is an advantage for the economy?
So it depends on how you see it, right? And it depends on what you want to do with it, right? It's easy, for example, that you look at a set of people, you look at the disciples of Jesus and say they betrayed him. Right, but those same disciples, depending on how they were managed, became apostles who died for him. So if this population come without skills, without ability, without the idea of production, at that point they will not be contributing to the economy. They will be a drain, right, to the economic systems of Lagos. But that's where we come in as government. We then begin to stimulate their ability to think. We then begin to create. Lagos, for example, does not allow for slacks. I remember coming into Lagos, I stood on the road trying to stop a taxi. And while I was waiting for the taxi to stop in front of me, a lady came, nudged me aside, went into the taxi and drove off. And I learned a lesson then that I must track my opportunities as they come and I must go for them as I see them. So if I spend a lot of time, not figuring out the progress we are making, the opportunities that are coming, then you will not see that growth happen. So Lagos will engage this population. I talked about the universities coming. We are strengthening our technical education systems. We are introducing comprehensive schools in our secondary school systems. By the way, we noticed that there were a lot of people dropping out of schools. And then we tracked a particular class. Why are they dropping out of schools and where are they going to? We find out that they are seeing a need to support the family with income. They are going to learn skills, and those skills are taking them out of schools. And because we could not assure the quality and the standard of those training, we created a comprehensive school system within our existing schools and our existing capacity. Now we are observing, interestingly, that they are coming back. We are teaching them things around fashion. We are teaching them things around movie making. We are teaching them things around technology. Then we are teaching them softer issues also about marketing, financial management, and people who used to be historically trans, right? Their principals are coming back to us to say they are getting focused. So people need different kinds of education to cope with the demand of industry. So those are the kind of things. So we push all the time that Nigeria has Lagos to experiment with, right? To just like the city of Shenzhen in China, where you experiment different things. This is where we should be experimenting state police. This is where we should be experimenting different power deregulation and decentralization. That's why we're coming out with a policy, an energy policy that should try and create a second energy market in Lagos, because we think we can sustain it. In Lagos alone, you have capacities installed, diesel generating capacities of about 8,000 megawatts. What do we get from the grid? Maybe about 800 or 1,000. Right? We have our rooftop spaces that can deliver about 1 gigawatt. So if there are opportunities for renewable energy, there's an opportunity, and invested. These generators are not free. People have paid cash, they are paying for the diesel. The diesel is not great for the environment. So if we harness them together, we can actually take Lagos out of the grid. It's ideas like this that cause Lagos to prosper.
At this point, Honorable Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Lagos State, Mr. Sam Egube, we would like to say thank you for spending quality time with us on the program, Greater Lagos.
Thank you very much. And please do come anytime you need clarification and anytime you want to hear the story about the future of Lagos. Like I said, it's our culture to remain accountable to the people of Lagos, and I think this is one of such opportunities.
Greater Lagos.
That will be all on today's episode of Greater Lagos. Now we know the immeasurable work of economic planning and budgeting done to make our beloved Lagos a global economic and financial hub that will put it at the top and make it Africa's model mega city. This clearly shows in the signing of the Lagos State Development Plan 2052 by Governor Sanwo-Olu in the just concluded Egube 2022 summit. Mr. Samuel Egube, the Honorable Commissioner, Lagos State Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget, has been our guest today. We have also heard the views of mega citizens of Lagos on the impact that these economic interventions has on their income. It has been an exciting time on today's episode. Until next time, I remain your host, Lucy Lugbe. Bye for now.
Greater Lagos. Ìgbéga ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó àjùmọ̀ṣe ni.